Hey guys, I've got another exciting lesson today because again we're going over loops. So we're going to learn about a new type of loop this time. It's called a for-in loop, and basically what it does is just like other loops, it repeats lines of code for us, but a for-in loop specifically loops through every value in a list. So here you can see I have test scores and it's just some integers. So what I want to do is I want to find the average of this. So to find the average of scores, obviously I just add them all together and then divide by however many I have. So let's use a for-in loop to do this. So the first thing I need to do is make a variable to store my sum. So I'll call it my sum, and we start off at 0 until I've added the numbers together. The sum is 0. So what I'm going to do is now loop through this list and add all those numbers to my sum. So I'm going to say for my num, and I'll explain this in a minute, in test scores, I want you to add to my sum. I'm going to say my sum is equal to my sum plus my num. And now I'll explain this. So what we're saying is for every number in this list, so what happens is we start off and we set my num equal to 81. So my num can be anything. I just decided to call it my num. We could have called it socks for all Python cares. Like, it really does not matter. I just called it my sum because that's what made sense to me. So now my num is equal to 81. So then we say my sum, which is 0, plus equals, which that just means the current value of my sum plus this new value. So 0 plus 81. So then my sum holds 81. Then we get to the end of our loop, so we jump back up here, and since we still have numbers left in test scores, we continue looping. So my num is now equal to 85. So then we add 85 to my sum, get to the end of a loop. We still have numbers left, so we set my num equal to 20, add that, set my num equal to 68, and add that, and finally we have all of these stored together in my sum. And to prove it, I'll print my sum. So I can run this. And we get 254. I'm not going to add all this together, but I think Python can add numbers, so I'm going to go with that. So now all I needed to do is divide by however many I have. So I could say my sum divided by 4. And if I run this, I get 63.5. Again, I'm not going to calculate that, but that's probably right. Instead of doing this, though, let me show you a problem. So if I go up here and I put in another number and I run this, my sum is still being added to appropriately since I'm just looping for however many numbers I have in this list. But down here, my length is no longer 4. I have 5 numbers now, so this is wrong. So what I can do to fix that is I just say, give me the length of test scores. And now I can change this as much as I want, and we'll still have an actual valid average. So just running through everything one more time, I have a list of numbers and they're just integers that represent some test scores, and then I make a sum variable. So then I go through every number in test scores and I add it to my sum. So then I print out my sum divided by the length of this list, the number of numbers I have in this list. And finally I print that out, and that's how we get 64. So I hope you learned something. I'll see you guys in the next one.